Hey guys, this is Ashley with Baby Wearing International in Knoxville. Today I'm going to show you how to do Poppins Hip Carry. I'm going to be doing it with my newborn. He's 1 week old, and I'm going to be doing him tummy to tummy in this. But if you have a bigger baby who can sit up unsupported, you can do them in a hip carry. It's traditionally worn in a hip carry, but it works really well in a tummy to tummy as well. I'm using a size 3. That is the shortest you could probably do with this, but you could definitely use a longer wrap. If you did, you would just cross it around and tie in the front. So I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. Now, for this shorter wrap, what I basically want is to have the middle marker at the front of my body. So if you have a longer wrap, then you obviously will have more tail over your shoulder. I have a short side since it's just going to be tying off to the side right here. But basically your starting point is to have that middle tag at the middle of your chest. And then this short side coming around you and this short side coming over. I have it on my left shoulder. It'll kind of freeze up my right hand and my right side, so it just kind of depends. You can switch it up, whichever is comfortable for you. Okay, and then the short side, what I'm going to do is tuck it in between my knees. Actually, I'm tucking it in between my knees behind me because it's going to keep it out of my way a little bit more. And then I bring this longer side over my front and cross it through. And you can see how it's going to end up having that nice gathered spread spot right there. Okay, so still keeping that short side in between my knees behind me. Not sure if you can see that, but I'm just tucking it in between my thighs or my knees behind me. And then now I have a nice little pouch on my front. And like I said, my little guy is going to go right on my front, but if you had a baby that was big enough, like if you're naturally starting to wear them or carry them on your hip, if they have pretty good head control and are starting to sit, you know, semi-unsupported, they don't have to be sitting completely on their own, but sitting up well, then you can do them on your hip. Let me grab him up. This is a nice carry too for beginners because it's what we call semi-poppable, meaning it's partially on my body. It's not tied off yet, but it's pretty secure, so when I put him in there, I'm not going to feel like I'm fumbling around too much. So what I'm going to do is put him up on my shoulder. This is Zion. He's a week old. I'm going to put him up on my opposite shoulder from where all of my strap is. And I like to reach through the bottom of the wrap like this so that I can help guide his feet down and I have a good hold on his bottom. And then with my right hand, I can simultaneously pull up this fabric behind his neck. Like I said, if you had a big baby, you would just be sliding them down onto your hip and sitting them onto your hip. But we're doing this tummy to tummy. Either way is completely fine. And then I'm going to tuck that fabric. Since I'm holding that strap behind me, this fabric is staying in place pretty well. But then from here, I'm going to tighten up. I'm just going to tuck this fabric underneath his bottom to create a seat. If your baby was on your hip, or just a bigger baby in general, you could reach in between the two of you and kind of pull that fabric up between you to create a nice deep seat. But since he's so little and he's all froggied up still from being in my body, that's not really necessary. So from here, this is pretty snug. I'm just going to start pulling out the slack. I don't really have to hold on to him anymore because... Oh no, did you go out in the rain? Hold on a minute, buddy. Alright, so from here then I'm just going to make sure that this is spread nice. And I'm going to pull it back across his body. There are one of two ways that you can do this. You can just go right back over the top and back over the legs. If you have a baby that likes to straighten their legs though, you could also go underneath this back leg, and that'll just kind of help. It's hard to show you that with his little legs. But you would just go underneath that back leg. It's going to make this fabric go down in the front, which is going to change the look of it a little bit, but that's that's not a big deal. Then you won't have to worry about your baby popping their seed out. But since he's so little, and I don't have to worry about that, I'm just going to spread it over his back. Make sure all this slack is out, and make sure all the slack in behind his neck is out. Okay. And with my size 3 shorter wrap, I would just tie off right here. If you had a long wrap, you would just cross it behind you and then tie underneath their bottom. I've done this with, it's one of my favorites, so I've done it with all sizes of wraps. You just kind of have to play with what you have, but it's perfect with a size 3. All right. And then I like to just make sure this is really nice and spread out. And he's high enough to kiss his head. His back is well supported because I pulled all of that slack out. He's got a nice seat. His legs are in that nice M shape, and he's sitting deep into his seat right here, which is what we want. He's square on at the front of my body. If he was a bigger baby, then I would have him offset onto my hip with this. This is a really good one to nurse in as well. He's sleeping, so I can't really show you, but you can just kind of scooch him down a little bit to your breast and unlatch him, or undo your shirt and let him latch on. If they're in a hip carry, it's really, really easy. And then in a hip carry, if they're nursing and I, want a little bit of privacy, then I kind of can pull this up, as long as his face isn't covered, but I can kind of cover up my breasts so I can nurse a little more discreetly in public. Alright, this is Poppins Hip Carry with a 1-week-old, but feel free to try it with any aged baby. It's one of my favorites. Enjoy!